Man, people be talking about which coke rappers is believable, which one aren't. Boldy James was selling coke. Look, the difference between Boldy rapping about what he rap about and other rappers, it's like watching a movie versus reading the books. I know everybody don't be reading books, so if you don't, I'm gonna break that down for you. In a movie, there'll be a scene where somebody get punched, but in a book, it'll be, it was 2 o'clock at night and it was raining, and then his left shoulder went backwards, and the guy's eye lit up as he saw the punch coming. That's what it's like when Boldy James is describing cooking up. But yeah, long overdue collab between Boldy and Nicholas Craven, 2 guys who are really honed in their craft and I think are at the peak of their careers. Let's get to it.
Mr. 1008.
This is a smooth instrumental.
Block
The
work.
vocals and the horns.
To a track from a Tina to a baseboard. Now I cut up 288 8-boys. Know some real niggas in the pen, free 8-boy. Blew up in the 10 like MJG and 8-boy. Then see more bricks of China stacked in the Great Wall. On my third strike, it's just a friendly game of baseball.
That's a clever little line. He talking about he got the bricks stacked in the Great Wall. The flip on the China. Come on, man.
Weather the storm had the shivers, damaging my liver. Had to plow through the snowstorm, now my neck a blizzard.
That's some more good wordplay. I had to plow through the snowstorm, the coat reference. Gave my neck a blizzard.
You respect the nigga got shot, we respect who hit you. Beam on the Cyclops. I thread the needle, big creature like I'm Sasquatch with this desert eagle. I hit a nigga flush, dead in this ball spot. From where we
The last couple lines, the best rhyme scheme in this song so far. It's a little 4-syllable rhyme scheme.
Blue and whites like some more cops. My feds double bunking beds on the compound. I'm just trying to stay the fuck out of the way, my dude.
Hey, Craven got in his duffel on that one. That sample is gorgeous. That's one of the smoothest samples I heard in a minute, especially the vocals, the horns, and it had more layers to it, from the chattering to the smooth piano chords. Boldy James' verse was good. It wasn't crazy. He did have some nice wordplay and a couple punchlines that stood out to me, but I think the rapping, everything from his flows to his rhyme schemes were pretty straightforward. Not to say they were bad, but just straightforward. But I'll say strong opener overall, especially on Craven part. This is Stuck in Traffic. It's another really groovy sample.
The Bureau know we the reason for your mural. Investigating me for bodies and I'm talking plural. Ducking New York undercovers and I'm Miami Vice. My little niggas out here thugging, busting heads for stripes. Pull up, let off a movie clip, Leo Block cinematic. That drink like 250 a line, got some expensive habits.
Like a little cinematic line.
Tell whoever looking for me, I'm somewhere stuck in traffic. Need some shit that make you lose your lunch. I couldn't hold my stomach. At the crib pacing back and forth, cause I know they coming. Not too much different for serving things than I'm accustomed to. Coming through customs, getting hassled by the constables. When our course, some say was part of the obstacle. Lil Buzzo in the pen, I feel partly responsible.
That's another beautiful sample from Craven. That bright, majestic synth. Then you got the vocals too. Once again, the rapping from Boldy isn't the most lyrical. I do really appreciate his storytelling on that second verse though. Look, I was spot on when I was saying it was like a book, man. He just described a number of different scenes. Being nervous about a raid coming, linking up with his plug, getting caught and some of his homies didn't make it out. I just appreciate how vivid everything was, despite it being kind of short clips and snippets of stories as opposed to one single narrative. So good rapping, but sick beat. This is Scrabble. I think this was a lead single, but I know it's a single. This is a soulful album so far.
Choppers like a Harley, daydreaming of a damn Marley. Off-white, same color as a stand back. Quick
like
to bleed a nigga block, that's a 10-pack. Stepped on a chicken pot pie and some Van Grex.
Is that the first time somebody called work chicken pot pie? Chicken's money. I think some people use it for work, but chicken is money, pot's a pot, and then a pie?
How many times I had to bail you niggas out single-handedly? I'm the one who held the city down by my lonesome. That's who did it first, me, that's who. Whole brick of Sade, this shit is sweet as taboo. It's gang time mafia where loyalty is law. Ducking the alphabet shit, feel like we playing Scrabble.
Yeah. That's some tough chords,
Facing so many letters, shit look like we playing Scrabble. Zero step to work so hard that damn near caught the travel.
I like that line too.
Putting them squares back together like a game.
They don't call travel no more, so you good.
Put a blue check on your head and verify your glizzy. Hope you niggas ready to die, cause that ain't no biggie.
People made Biggie Ready to Die, Life After Death flips. But if it's good, it's good. That was a good flip.
Sorta. Get big bags by the border and we move that way. Quick, slim, fast, Tommy Lasorda. until the judge banged the gavel.
That was the best rapper from Boldy on this album so far on the first 3 tracks. He stepped up the complexity and the lyricism with a little bit more complex rhyme patterns, and he just had this slick wordplay laced throughout the entire song. Nicholas Craven shooting 3 from 3 from the 3-point line. Love those jazzy keys, and he's been sticking with the vocal sample so far, and it ain't failed him yet. It's also real easy to see the chemistry between Nicholas Craven and Boldy James. These beats have such a laid-back vibe, and Boldy James has such a laid-back delivery. The pairing seems as good in practice as it does on paper. This is Town and Country.
Put a 1 on the 1, that's a friendly game of 2 square. 80 a gram, we ship him up quick as the coupe gear. Gave him the art of rock climber, now that's a cliffhanger. Hard tied your bitch up for them blocks and them rectangles. Was dead game before I ever had my shoes laced. Left my phones in the city just so they can lose trace. Lost track of time, shooting CeeLo, me and cocaine. In the jungle, yeah, I run with jackals and I know hyenas.
Man, those are some really crafty bars. He's had multiple different extended metaphors within the same set of, call it 6 to 8 bars. He's had this game thing where he mentioned 2 square, he mentioned rock climbing. He said specifically he been put on game, and then he was talking about CeeLo. Then he had this trace theme where he mentioned tracing, tracking. It also kind of subtly and loosely plays into, with 2 square, you got to trace out the boxes. And then he said trace, right, which is a double entendre for tracking someone down or tracing like a box. He mentioned rectangles. That's some tough writing.
227 Creature Gang, Griselda Fashion Rebel. Spin that bass up so fast, DJ forgot to add the treble. Bet whatever, we don't win whoever that we catch together. Disney on ice, the way I slide with this double decker. Where all the birds flock together, come and pluck a feather. I swell that A1 Yola up until it's bubble letters.
Yo, Nick Craven gotta be top 5 most soulful white dudes. Like, let's be real, it's probably Bobby Caldwell up here. But Nick Craven gotta be somewhat close, right? Yeah, that's another sick beat, sick sample. The thing that stuck out most to me about that sample is the different layers of vocals. They had like 3 different layers of vocals. And to me, it sounded like they were at different parts of the song. I doubt they would have had those 3 layers in whatever the source of that sample was at the same time. But regardless, that's an excellent job of crate digging to come up with that one. I think this is the best rapping from Boldy so far. The rhyme schemes have progressively got more and more intricate with each song. And the way that he's effortlessly ripping off this slick wordplay, he's just taking one drug phrase and making these clever word associations with them. I think it's between that song and Scrabble for the best song so far. This is Tre Nine. First time I heard drums on this album.
No punches, no break lines. My niggas really crunching, facing numbers, not no stay time. We been getting 200 degrees. Fuck a record sale. All the flicks that the feds took, we was fresh as hell.
Invested in a semi truck, was stressing with the mail. Niggas getting booked with the books, then they turning 12. Now everybody gangsta, heard they pushing P. Nigga got his shit pushed back. He thought he took from me. Took him out the game with the Drake like he Pusha T.
Took him out of the game with the Drake like he Pusha T. That kind of works. Pusha T kind of took Drake out the game. I like where he was going.
Grams a puppy child, I might need some help with that. Stepping on the China like a welcome mat. I give my right hand for a pint of act. Pour some water on his chest to make sure he ain't wiretapped.
Unk running out of veins, he shooting in his nuts. We put them pills in her pussy, put her on the bus.
Making your mule ride the bus is low-key slavery.
The record off the Richter off the charts with us. Took all the extras, bought a split and caught the charter bus.
I like what this track was going for. Them niggas just ain't had the personnel, in my opinion. I haven't heard Boldy James go back and forth with any other rappers. I like when rappers go for it, especially when they have a lot of chemistry. I don't think the chemistry was there, and I don't think the talent was there from Guwap. I'm not familiar with him at all, but I don't think he added anything from the track. His rhyme schemes weren't as crisp as Boldy James was. Boldy had a few nice punches sprinkled through his verse, like the stepping on the word like a floor mat. Guwap's not the same caliber puncher, and I don't think their deliveries match either. Guwap sounds like he probably could be better if he was on a more hype track, and Boldy has that laid back delivery, so it seemed like their voices were clashing. Craven did his part though. This is Monterey Jack.
Triple murder, wanted for 3 ones, trying to buy some time. Out on bond, posted on these warrant off of Audubon. Still serving, learn to work my hand behind the steel curtain. Cause I'm known for block bleeding, he not even a real person. Action Jackson, cargo pocket stuff just like an action figure. 700 cash was in your stash, let's see who racks is bigger. In my project, felt like I was stuck, ain't had no exit plan. bagging up. Had to add the cut to get them extra grams.
Hey, I done spent a lot of time defending Boldy against niggas who say he makes sleep music. Right now, I feel like I'm getting stabbed in the back. Look, the song was good, but that's a low energy track. Boldy's been using this slow methodical flow for about 4 of the first 6 songs. Right here, it felt like the pace was extra slow, and it wasn't helped out. The first verse was good, but on that second verse, the rhyme schemes weren't bad. He was using a 3-syllable rhyme scheme, but it had no internal rhymes. It was just 3-syllable at the end of the first bar, 3-syllable at the end of the second bar, and that was the rhyme scheme. Not much variability in there. He has some slick punches in there, but now I'm searching for that haymaker, that bar on that stick for the beef like a corn dog that he spit on Bo Jackson. That type of punch, the wake me up type punch. I don't have a single complaint for Nicholas Craven, though. I think these samples are gorgeous. Boldy might be able to benefit from some drums, but the production has been dope. This is Designer Drugs.
Jack guy.
The other thing about the production, I feel the vibe of the production has matched the cover of this album. It feels like the soundtrack for getting snowed in a cabin.
Big city, small China, started as small timers. Scared to dwell on my past, I got Alzheimer's. Toting my 30 million girlie pulling.
I like that line.
She made me wish I never met her on my Carl timing. 10th hour verse, it got me turned up like the power steering. She still ain't talking about no money, must be hard of hearing. Laid out the blueprint, how to run up the
I like
blue
that
strips. Remember Mock said if the blow take a 3, then that's goose shit. Tapped in with Calico, I really landslide with thugs. I ain't your average Joe, my killers that shut down your hood.
I like that line. I used to follow battle rap. I done fell off, but Calico is a battle rapper and he really be in them streets. I think he's a Detroit rapper, right? But his slogan's landslide, so that's how that fit into that bar.
Take it apart, put it back right together how it was. Make a couple dollars, bitches say you going Hollywood. Real hustler, I can sell a vampire blood. Stepped on it in Prada, now they calling it designer drug.
I think that Blood to a Vampire line is slit nod to Jay-Z. That I can sell ice in the winter, I can sell fire in hell, I can sell water to a well. That line from You Don't Know, I like his little play on it.
Who get it off the boat, that's all we want is designer drug.
All right, I'm rocking with that track. I love the sax and that beat. Boldy still uses that laid back flow, which I think 8 songs in might be a touch too laid back, but the rapping was back on point. A little bit more intricacies in the rhyme scheme where he had some internal rhyming and then he had some 4-syllable rhyme schemes mixed in there too. But more than anything, I just like the imagery that was on these 2 verses, especially in that second verse. I think the drug talk on that verse came across like a movie. I think that's a pretty dope song. This is 6 Toes.
500 for my chop, 1,000 for my sneakers. Real stepper, he got 6 toes. Must be some kind of creature. Big dog with gorillas.
Boy, it used to be with the coke rappers, you couldn't buy a chorus. Now everybody want to have one. I think most of his chorus has been good. That one kind of got a little bop groove to it. But that said, I think that might be the lightest chorus. Outside that last line that he got 6 toes, he must be some kind of creature.
I got the keys to the city, but that back door still open. Can't really remember a time when we ain't had no motion. The lifestyle a nigga living is a bit perplexed. So if you ever catch me spinning, better hit the deck. One time for my villains, 10 ball in my dinner. Quick to shoot my shot, like Chris Paul with the Clippers. On 6 Mile with my 6s, I sent it.
Come on, Boldy, you're above that.
Shout out the real Cooper Street, long live my nigga Ginger. Left all these hoes alone cause I know all them niggas tender. His wallet getting slimmer, my pockets getting richer. Seem like the more money I touch, my problems getting bigger.
Hey, I love Boldy. I'm a much bigger fan of Boldy James than I am of Nicholas Craven, so I feel like I'm qualified to say this. Boldy James is getting carried on this album right now. He's getting carried. Craven got on the little reverse book bag looking thing that you put the baby in right here so the parent can walk around the store while the baby sleep right here. It ain't that bad, but Craven is really shining right now. I think this is kind of light compared to Boldy James' last project so far. His flows have had 1 gear so far. Normally he can get into some really intricate rhyme schemes and flows for that matter. Right here for most of that song, especially on the second verse, he was using a 2-syllable rhyme scheme with no internal rhymes within the bars. So for someone who I consider a lyricist, that's a lot of syllables before you get to any kind of rhyme scheme. The saving grace for him though is the imagery as he's rapping is unmatched in my opinion. Like I feel like just for listening to Boldy James rap, I'm an accessory to drug dealer. Like I might go down for Rico. I ain't a snitch though, so if I go down, I ain't saying nothing. This is You Ain't No Menace.
Got more 313 links than a Figaro chain. Cause since the tender age of 10, I've been in the dope game, touching grown man money. Ran away from the crib, caught my first cell charge when Vans raided the speed. Had to learn the harder way, but it made me a man. Pistol on the kitchen table, razor blade in my hand.
See, this is a good rhyme scheme. This is a 4-syllable rhyme scheme right here.
I'm from the concrete, I make it flood tsunamis. 10 years ago, shit, I feel like I could've fucked the shanty. Why niggas wanna catch me sleeping, set me up and rob me. Back in my ghetto, I was scheming up a fucking Ponzi. I just pray to God that he don't let my past hunt me. And I ain't gotta max out like my last bunkie. I just pray to God that he don't let my past hunt me. Boy, you ain't a menace, just another faggot ass chance. Ripping and
God
running on the
dang.
street.
Is this 2008? I don't think you can say that no more, my guy. It's a different climate now. That's wild.
Work white as a golf ball. I could kick it or punt it, tip it or bun it, dump it off, hit it or touch it. Quick to turn a softball to a chicken McNugget. Still in the.
He's been doing this all throughout the album, and it's simple, but it's dope. How he'll take a phrase and then play off of that. Like, he's just saying he's flipping soft into chicken money, but then just throwing a little swagger on and calling it chicken McNugget instead.
A couple niggas bullets to the face with the F, and don't let me find out you pussies had to pay for protection.
Boy, that'd be beautiful enough to make you shed a tear. It's a grimy song though, so it's gonna be like a Nino Brown on the Roof tear though, right? Either that or a Tattoo tear. But yeah, that beat, dog. That vocal sample, sick. It's the rapping I needed from Boldy in them last few songs. The vivid storytelling, especially on that first verse, was fire. He picked back up the lyricism with the 4-syllable rhyme schemes through most of that first verse. He went back to the 3-syllable in the second verse, but he had a little bit more variation as opposed to the last 3 songs before that. That was one of the stronger songs on the album. Let's close this thing out with Power Now.
The bed bugs bite. Night night nigga, window full of sleeping pills. It's similar to Seroquel. Still look like a sway bar, got big AR with the Ferris wheel. Wake your whole hood up, let that Drake sing you a lullaby. Man, a few words, I know you heard, I'm shortcutting drive.
Yo, that whole opener is crazy. The little sleeping pill metaphor to the drum calling a Ferris wheel and the wake you up lullaby flip. Ugh.
You straight to sleep, make you think that we was in cahoots. He think it's off the floor, but they gon' know soon as we smoke his boots. They tweet and post and get some rest, need to get out the streets. I end up just like them, spend the rest of your life counting sheep.
Dog, and then he's taking this sleep imagery for the whole verse so far.
Left that nigga sound asleep, they marked him up for tardy. 6 sleeping bags on the grass, it's a slumber party. Long live my
Oh my goodness. Whoa. Oh my goodness, that's a bar. 6 sleepy calling the body bag sleeping bags. It's a slumber party?
brother Marty. I kept shit moving on, but on some real shit. I ain't really slept since you been gone. 100 rat racks in the trash bag, look like I'm raking leaves. Brick and Sleeping Beauty plug, hair black and Lebanese. Slept my brother almost sleep gnarly for them extra G's. Drink got a nigga moving slow like I got special needs. Never need a nigga.
That's an ignorant line, dog. Oh my goodness, that's so ignorant. That's hilarious.
Nigga play with blocks and that's on gang, we gon' tuck him in. Pocket out his grandma, left a voicemail message. Giving niggas eternal sleep, make sure they well rest.
Damn, I had no idea that there was this amount of sleep metaphors for killing somebody. It's just like Urban Dictionary, but if it was only for phrases about killing people.
When I turned 15, the last time that I cried tears, we went from childhood dreams to federal nightmares. Dozed off in the coop.
I like that line.
For a maple. Cup so polluted, shit it came with a warning label.
Not gonna lie, I think that's the best song of the album. Lead single, and I know some people hate when the lead single the best song, but hey, that's what you got here. The sample is crazy again, and then easily the best verse from Boldy James. Some very heavy punchlines throughout the song, and they all had this sleep theme to them. But I also like the first contrast of most of the wordplay in the first verse was centered around using sleep to be putting somebody to sleep, killing somebody, and then sleep in the second verse was about him being sleepy, using codeine, cough syrup to mask some of the pain he's going through. Fire track. If they could go back in time, unmake that the lead single, so the lead single ain't the best song on the album. Overall, I think that was a really good album. I think it has some pretty blaring flaws. I will say though, I think Craven was as close as you can get to flawless. Monterey Jack was probably the lightest beat on this album. And I thought that beat was pretty dope. Just 10 really gorgeous samples. I think all the samples were pretty textured too, because none of these samples felt bare or empty to me, despite there being very, very minimal drums. I think there was some real subtle drums on like 1 or 2 tracks, but every track either had dope vocal sample. I heard some great piano chords. The saxophone sample was dope. I think production-wise, it's one of the best produced albums of the year. The issue here was Boldy, and I'm a bit surprised because how strong each of his last offerings were. I wouldn't say the rapping was bad here, but it was very low energy at points, too low energy at points, especially given how laid back the beats are on top of that. On Killing Nothing, Bo Jackson, and Super Tecmo Bo, he got into these pretty creative flows, energetic flows. He sped up the pace, slowed down the pace at times. And on this album, for the most part, it was one speed. And the speed was about 40 miles per hour. I will say though, his imagery was good from start to finish. Like I said, nobody can paint that picture of being in the drug game like Boldy does. I thought when he decided to punch, for the most part, it was good. And I thought he had slick wordplay throughout. But he's really improved as a technical rapper in this latter part of his career. And I don't think this album showcased that. But still, I think this album was pretty dope. You can't deny how special Nicholas Craven was on this thing.